Hi, how are you? I'm Anthony from Cypher House, and I am back with some more of the 25-year-old puzzle hunt, Escape from Alcatraz. Last time we had explored the upper catwalk, where we solved the garden variety puzzle. We combined that with our answer to crossing guard and found a key that opened cell Z59. From there, we solved this puzzle we've only just begun, and at the very end of the video, I extracted key 2M. I requested key 2M from my brother, who is my game master, and he gave it to me, and then I realized that that key went in the stair door at the end of our map here. Then I sent him that and unlocked that off video just so that I would have the puzzles ready to go, and he said you go down the stairs and enter the first floor south. You also unlock 3 puzzles, a few pointers, band on the run, and picture this. Starting with our first floor south map, it says coming down to the first floor of the cell block, you find locked doors that lead to the guard's locker room, the kitchen, and the mess hall, the stairway to the lower level, and the north portion of the first floor. The first 3 of these doors require keys, but the door to the north area is protected by an electrical lock with no apparent way to open it from this side. The only possibility is a small circuit box mounted on the wall beside the door. Unfortunately, this box is held tightly shut with 4 screws. If only you had a screwdriver, perhaps you could open it. We have 3 new puzzles to check out, but I also just want to remind, for the sake of the video, that I solved the puzzle Proverbial Wisdom, sort of, last stream, meaning that I solved all the clues and figured out the phrase. The phrase was, there are 3 kinds of lies: lies, damned lies, and statistics, a quote by Mark Twain. I solved this puzzle but didn't actually collect anything for solving it, so I don't know if there's still something in here that I need to extract that I should be seeing, or if I'm going to solve another puzzle down the road that tells me how to extract something from this. Either way, it's probably best that I just keep going for making progress, so let's see what our new puzzles are that we've unlocked. On this first page, we have the puzzle A Few Pointers, which says, the grid below conceals 15 holes, which you are to locate in the empty spaces. The number of holes in each row and column is given by the corresponding number beside the grid. In addition, each arrow points directly towards one or more of these holes. An arrow may be immediately next to a hole it points to, or all the way across the grid from it. When you have found all the holes, their placement should help your band to escape. I see. And then looking at, like, the shading of this particular puzzle, there's like a white ring and then a gray ring and then it keeps going inwards. That matches the rings on this other puzzle, band on the run, so that'll help your band to escape. It's probably saying that those 15 holes are 15 letters that we have to extract from this puzzle. The instructions for band on the run is this puzzle contains 2 sets of answers. Each row holds 2 answers clued in order by the corresponding clue, and each band holds 1 answer or more starting in the lettered space and proceeding clockwise around the grid. And then the last puzzle that we unlocked is called Picture This, which says to solve this puzzle, you'll need to have a keen eye, know a smattering of trivia, and be able to handle a bit of trans-deleting. So it looks like we have a bunch of trivia questions and then spaces to maybe put a letter. So I'm wondering if the answers to these trivia questions are going to be maybe like a letter off from one of the pictures on the right-hand side. I noticed that there are 24 pictures on the right and only 23 questions. So we're gonna have a picture left over, I would guess. All right, so these are the 3 puzzles we're going to probably be working on. I guess I'm just gonna go through them in order. Okay, I just finished putting the puzzle A Few Pointers into sheets. I used emojis to try to substitute for the arrows in the original puzzle. I think it should work fine. Instead of, I could use like X's as free spaces or something, and O's to represent the holes. But I think it might just be more visually appealing if I use like red spaces as the blanks and green to indicate where the holes are. So are there any like restrictive arrows? This one obviously isn't pointing to any available spaces at this point except for this one, and that finishes with all the holes for this column, so we're done with that. I actually changed my mind. I originally colored all of the arrows red immediately, just to help myself see that there wouldn't be holes there. But I think I'm actually going to wait and only color them in, like this one, when I've found a hole that they point to. That way I can verify that every arrow is definitely pointing at a hole. This arrow at this point can only be pointing to that space. So that arrow as well as this arrow are both satisfied in this column. All right, this diagonal arrow is now only pointing at this free space here. Okay, so we can start getting into some slightly more advanced logic. This arrow needs to be pointing to a hole in one of these two spaces, and while we don't know which one it is yet, we know that there's only one hole in this row, so we can color the rest of the row red. Similarly for this row, the second hole needs to be to the right of this arrow, so we can color this space red. And same in this row right below it, the hole's going to be somewhere off to the right, so these spaces are going to be red. And now because we've done that, this diagonal arrow is no longer pointing to multiple white spaces, it's only pointing to this one, so we've got to place a hole there. This row only has one green space and it's somewhere to the left of this arrow, so the right spaces are red. This column only has one and it's got to be below that arrow, so we can make that space red. And one more time, this row only has one, which has to be above the arrow. All right, now let me look at a few more of these diagonal ones, like this. Yeah, I think there's only one space that this diagonal arrow can be pointing to. This arrow can only be pointing to this space now. This arrow can only be pointing at this space now. So this arrow only has one more space that it can be pointing to, which is there. This diagonal arrow here can only be pointing to this space. Now for a really long one, this arrow in the top left corner can only be pointing at this space all the way down here. This diagonal arrow now can only be pointing at that space. The top row only has one more available space, and we know we need a second one up there, so we can put it there. There's only one space left in this row, so we can put the hole in the only remaining spot. There's only one space left in this column, which is down there. And so it looks like we just need to place a hole right there. That satisfies the column, this arrow, and this row. This arrow was also satisfied by the last one we placed. So I think we're done. We found the 15 holes, and now we just need to solve the band on the run puzzle in order to apply that to something. Okay, I've just put the band on the run puzzle now into the sheet, and it should be pretty much directly replicated. I just took the letters A, B, C, D out from the various rings and put them up top. All right, let's see if we can solve some clues. Silly ass. Could it be idiot? Car frame could be the chassis. Our silly ass would have to be 4 letters if chassis is correct. I mean, I guess these are going to be the same letters as A. So a sudden jerk could be like a tick. Okay, the sudden jerk is a twitch, and the idiot is a twit. So lieutenants are assistants, maybe? What you hope to become? Perhaps free? It's a long story, and once more. Once more, I think, is again. And so we need to add a letter to the beginning of that to get it's a long story. So I'm guessing that's saga. And then scrutinize is inspect. Genus subdivision is species. Well, Singa Fitzgerald is Ella. She shows up in crosswords a lot. Sign up could be maybe enlist. I'm wondering if inactive is idle, which would mean my free is incorrect. Now that I think about it, that's not really maybe the best answer. I was getting into the role of somebody escaping from Alcatraz. Many landmark visitors could be tourists. One who causes devastation could be a ruiner. Sentimental yearning for yesteryear. Nostalgia. And then we have soldier's pineapple is a grenade. That put a lot of letters in rows 4 and 8. Confiscated is taken. Okay, I was close with free for what you hope to become. I think it's escapee. But can I get the last thing on 11? Blubber. Weep. So then brown songbird starts with a W. Is it a wren? That would mean that business colleague ends in any R. Yeah, I think that's going to be partner. So wren is probably right. So then catches is traps, it looks like. Ready for the dry cleaner really might be starched. Maybe, you know what would probably work better than starched is actually stained. That means the clue at the end of B ends in denia, so I'm thinking it's like gardenia, and that would mean raga is sitarist's music. Yeah, that makes sense. I think a band sample tape is a demo, but I'm not, unless maybe it goes here. I'm not 100% sure where it goes yet. Isn't it, it's gonna be Medivac, isn't it? The copter for carrying injured soldiers? So I think demo is going there. And I think right before that, go snorkeling is dive. That means that writers Godwin and Sheely are gales. Oh, I think the dictator's aides are stenos, as in stenographers. Okay, I think I'm going to Google a few of the people in trivia that I'm not aware of. So the 1937 movie with Cary Grant as a ghost. Apparently the movie is Topper. Okay, it's looking like bar legally is a stop. Xerxes Kingdom. Oh, is it Persia? I'm gonna look up the choreographer de Mille. My guess is Agnes. Yeah, Agnes is correct. I wasn't familiar with the phrase skin dive, but it's looking like that's what we have for our go snorkeling. I think I'm gonna look up this possum of the comics. Okay, this is apparently Pogo the Possum. A building in its grounds is premises. Let's see if I can find this Annapolis student. Okay, apparently there's a naval academy in Annapolis, and MIDI is short for midshipman, so that's where that comes from. I'm starting to think the corset's cousin is a girder. Oh, I'm thinking of the word girdle, not girder. I think the key is an eyelet. Does a bulldog have tenacity? And that means erratic is lacking consistency. Okay, I think we've finished the band on the run grid, and so now I can combine it with my a few pointers grid, and hopefully we get something interesting. I'm gonna do that, and the letters in green spell, this is key 7W. Nice. Okay, I've sent key 7W to my brother, and while I wait on a response from him, we can work on picture this. Okay, I think I've brought the picture this puzzle over into sheets. It's the trivia questions. I have room for the answer, the picture that I believe each answer is associated with, and then the letter that I need to extract from each one. I've also put the pictures into paint so I can kind of cross them off and keep track of that as we go through. Now, I'm not the best at trivia, so I imagine I'm going to have to look quite a few of these up, but I will try my best, and we'll see how far I get. According to the Bugles song that launched MTV, what killed the radio star? Video. What coins are being issued at a rate of 5 new designs every year, commemorating the 50 states? Those are quarters. What soft white mineral is equated with 1 on the Mohs scale? That's talc. In what mythology would you find Asgard, the abode of the gods, and Valhalla, the hall of slain heroes? That's, Norse mythology, right? Okay, well, Norse is just a letter off of horse. So that guess could be right, that these are just a letter off of the pictures. But then I would need to find something that's a letter off of video, quarters, and talc. Actually, you know what I think I like better than that? I think if we remove the L from talc, we have an anagram of cat. And if we remove the I from video, we have an anagram of dove. So that's what I think. That's what I think it is. I think it's remove a letter and then anagram to get one of the pictures. I think there's a rose there. That's Norse without the N. Square is what our anagram of quarters is going to be. But that leaves us with an extra R and a T, so it's actually T square, and we have an extra R over there. What name is shared by Alice's cat in Alice in Wonderland and a woman in the kitchen in the song I've Been Working on the Railroad? I believe that is Dinah. Somebody's in the kitchen with Dinah. And hand is an anagram of Dinah. When he sings his theme song, the cartoon character claims, "I'm Popeye the" what? I think it's Sailor Man. What does an X indicate on a bowling score sheet? That's a strike. And this is a skier. All right, that's not the best for a first pass at these trivia questions. I definitely could know more, but I think it's going to be better if I just start looking some of these up. So let's look up this actress. I have heard of Greta Garbo, even though I haven't heard of this particular film. So that's going to be our gear. And I'm starting to think that this is going to spell third. All right, let's look up this particular anesthetic. It is ether. I guess this one when I went through the first time, but I second-guessed myself, and I didn't know what I was doing with the pictures yet. I should have came back to it. That's probably tree. All right, who's this British financier? Cecil Rhodes. I've definitely heard the name, but not enough times. So I think this is going to be our horse. What type of event could you attend at either Christie's or Sotheby's? These are apparently auction houses. Auction anagrams to toucan with an extra letter. The composer who wrote Grand Canyon Suite was Groff. That's a letter off of frog. What art form is most closely associated with Milan's Teatro alla Scala? Oh, it's an opera house, so opera. That anagrams to pair with an extra O. Okay, Ryder Cup is golf. I really probably should have known that one. That's a letter off of log. I'm seeing that Latin for little feather could be like penna or pinna or pluma. So I'm thinking it's pinnacle is the highest point. I'm not immediately sure what that anagrams to, but I'll come back to it. Satellite launched on this date that made transatlantic television possible. Telstar 1. Telstar is a letter off of rattle. Infamous world leader. Is this like, Putin? Joseph Stalin. Oh, I should have known that. Yeah, of course it's not Putin. Born in 1879. Silent performer, non. Marcel Marceau. That's camera with an extra U. Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade was played by Al Pacino. That anagrams to piano with an extra C. The Hoosier poet who wrote Little Orphan Annie. James Whitcomb Riley. Okay, I think I see the anagram here. I think it's lyre, L-Y-R-E, and that gives me an extra I. I wasn't sure what this was a picture of for a while, but I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing. Animal in Rikki Tikki Tavi. It's apparently a cobra. That's a letter off of crab. The 1980 sitcom was set in the Stratford Inn was Newhart. Wreath is a letter off of Newhart. We still have like a crane, a snail. I'm guessing this is either hear or listen. We have like the Mona Lisa and a bear. Oh, Sailor Man is almost Mona Lisa, isn't it? Oh yeah, Stalin's the snail. All right, let's see if I can find what fencing sword this is. If it's a saber, that's a letter off of bear. What are our letters spelling? Third line of instructions. So what happens if I anagram pinnacle without one of its ends? Pelican. Oh, okay. So we have third line of instructions, and we're left with an ear. So I'm wondering if that's maybe telling me the third line of the instructions sounds like something. Keen eye no. Key 9-0. That's great. That's really good. Okay, I've sent my 2 keys along to my brother to let me know what else I've unlocked. And I still haven't figured out what our proverbial wisdom quote's about. But that wraps it up for this video. Let me know your thoughts on this 25-year-old puzzle hunt down in the comments section, and I will see you next time. Until then, I hope everybody has a great day, and as always, happy escaping.